This is Hello Kos, your tour guide.
In this episode from Hello Kos TV, start of the summer season of 2021, the Casa del Fascio, the big earthquake of 1933, Italian and Turkish ruled over Kos.
This is Hello Kos TV.
Hello, this is our first episode from Hello Kos TV. We're going to show you all the beauty of Kos Island. Kos is lying in the Aegean Sea and is part of the islands group, Dodecanese. Kos is of the 12 islands the second largest one. We will show you today and in all our future Hello Kos episodes how people live here and how they used to live. We will visit and speak some of the locals and let you discover with us new places. Talk about the local traditions and try to eat their local food and then find their history. Let us take you on this voyage of discovery. We also going to see what is the story and history, because here happened a lot more than the most people in the first place can imagine. Things that had a very big influence on this island, and also the rest of the world. For example, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, but also the connection with Cleopatra, the queen from Egypt. So lean back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell so you never miss again an episode of Hello Kos TV.
This is Hello Kos, your tour guide.
But first we have to go 500 years back in time. This way, you can understand the island Kos and its people better. For 400 years, Kos had been under the rule of the mighty Ottoman Empire. When in September 29, 1911, this all would be finished and the Italian kingdom declared war to the Ottoman rulers to finally fulfill their Italian dream to build their own colony kingdom, like the French and British. During the summer in May of 1912, the Italian conquered the strategic islands, the Dodecanese. After the end of the war on October 18, 1912, Turkey had to agree to sign an agreement with the Italian. In this agreement, the Italians agreed to return the islands to Turkey while they could keep Libya. Because circumstances like the First World War in 1914, they decided not to take back the islands. And as long as needed, the Italians were allowed to rule over Kos. In 1923, Mussolini, the socialist leader of the Italian party, come to power and will become the Prime Minister of Italy, turning Italy and the islands into a fascist state. In the same year, Turkey gave up its claims on the islands. In 1933, something happened that no one expected. A big earthquake of the island of Kos that made the foundations under the buildings literally shake and collapse. It was an earthquake from 6.6, which lasted 27 seconds. The same that happened in 2017, also 6.6. Only with the big earthquake of 1933, it destroyed a lot of the buildings on the island, and it took the lives of 170 people. Nowadays the buildings are earthquake-proof by a special law. They have to can outstand the earthquakes. The Italians were given the task of rebuilding the city, something you could perhaps entrust to the Italians with their feeling for beauty, art, and architecture. And to this day, the influence of Italian architecture can still be seen all over Kos.
Casa di Fascio.
Because the Italian fascist party was in power, the Italians saw an opportunity to build on the most important place in Kos town, a local office for the fascist party. In the middle of the Freedom Square, La Casa del Fascio was designed in 1933 and was finally completed in 1935. From here they could serve as party and make propaganda. It had a balcony where the speakers at the foot of the impressive tower could harangue and speak to the crowds. In July 1943, Mussolini was deposed by the Italian King Victor Emmanuel III. And on September the 8th that same year, Italy's new rulers signed an agreement with the Allies, in which the Italians surrendered.
General Dwight D. Eisenhower, Commander-in-Chief of the Allied force. The Italian government has surrendered its armed forces unconditionally.
In Kos, the local population, as well the Italian army, were very pleased with this news. The hoped for an end of the war. Only, Kos remained an important strategic point because of the airport of Antimachia. The Allies and the Germans wanted the island for that reason. The few Germans on the island were overrun and disarmed. Soon after, more than 1,500 British troops landed on Kos to help the approximately 4,000 Italian soldiers to defend the island. On October 3, at 4:30 a.m., the German invasion of Kos began. The German attack at 3 different locations on the island, both from the sea and from the air. The German Luftwaffe was able without problems to carry out bombings over the island because they didn't have enough anti-aircraft artillery. Although the English and Italians were in the majority, with about 5,500 ground troops, and the Germans only had 1,000 men, they had to surrender on October 4th. (1,388 British and 3,145 Italians get captured and get gathered near the castle of Nerazzа in Kos town. All the 103 officers who stayed loyal to King Vittorio Emanuele III and had resisted the Germans were to be shot.
General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
After the end of the Second World War came Kos on May 9, 1945, under British command. 2 years later, in 1947, Kos and all the islands of the Dodekanis were given back to the Greeks. From the balcony of Casa del Fascio was announced on May 7, 1948, the return of Kos and the Dodecanese Islands to Greece. You still find plates to remember this event.
Απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά και σαν πρώτα ανδρεωμένη, χαίρε, ο χαίρε ελευθεριά.
It means, the bones sprouted of the Greeks, the holy ones, and as before, brave, be greeted, oh be greeted. Freedom. Today in the building there is a bar with a big terrace on the square, where they serve drinks and food. Also there is a cinema. In the cinema the English movies are subtitled in Greek, so anyone who understands English can watch and understand the movie that is played. What many people do not know is that the Library of Kos is located on the first floor. We hope the next time you visit Kos and have a coffee or take a walk in the square, that you are just look at this special building a little bit different. And not only look at its beauty but also its history. And now the start of the summer season 2021. Everyone is already preparing. Do you recognize them? May 14th is the official day that the holiday season starts. Greece will be from that day open for all the tourists. Everyone will be welcome with a negative PCR test or a vaccination certificate. Kos has in 2020 already proven that Kos is a safe holiday location. This year will be not different. Come to enjoy the 2021 season. Eat in one of the many cozy restaurants. Sunbathe on the beautiful beaches. Or explore the island by car, scooter or bicycle. Do not forget to download our app from the Play Store. Here you will find all the taxi prices, fun routes, what things you can do on the island, what the real prices are, and much more information. At the top right you find a link. On this link you can see how to download the app for the iPhone. We hope you enjoyed watching. And hope to see you again, next time in a new episode of Hello Cuss TV.